What's up, everybody? King of Fomo here, coming at you with your daily crypto update. Make sure you follow me over there on Telegram. That's t.me/KingofFomo1, as well as my TikTok channel listed right there on the screen. All right, so as you guys know, it's been a little bit of time since I've been making consistent videos, and one of the reasons is because I'm sure most of us know this, but over the past kind of week and a half or so, maybe even 2 weeks, it's been sort of a scammer's honeypot when it comes to the Binance Smart Chain. There's been millions and millions of dollars being put into a ton of contracts that were essentially total crap. And like scammers are going to be catching on to that. If you're putting money into things that there's no development going into it, that's when you know it's best to just really sit back and watch and wait until the dust settles from all the scams. And I do think that we're getting closer to that point where the scams have kind of calmed down a little bit, or at the very least, we're getting to a point where you have developers putting out things that take more than just Control-C, Control-V. So that's what I've really been looking for over the past couple of days. I've been looking to get back into farming and just get back into the Binance Smart Chain in general. And my main qualifications is I'm not really joining anything that is just Control-C, Control-V. And there still is quite a bit of that going on. So you have to have a little bit of tech savviness to understand what to avoid and what to check out, what might have potential. So one thing that I've been checking out for the past day here, about 24 hours right now, is called Brickchain Finance. So Brickchain is a farm on the Binance Smart Chain and looks a little bit different, which is good. Again, I'm looking for something that's not completely, totally just copied and you slap a different picture on it. So just having a different user interface is a step up, but obviously that's not going to be enough. A lot of people can just design a new user interface over the course of a week and use the same contract. So what Brickchain is actually doing is they have a double burning functionality in their contract. And as of course you guys should know, the more tokens are burned, the more the supply goes down, and the more the demand can either go up or stay the same, the more the price can increase as well. That's one of the main problems with a lot of these farms, is that you have you just have more and more coins being minted and no use case and no development. So that just is going to kill the price. And that's happened to basically every single one of these. And the ones that it hasn't happened to, those ones are just complete and total scams. So what Brickchain does, since they have this double burn feature, they do their manual burns, which I mean is kind of controversial as it is, because you still have to trust the developer to do a manual burn. If there's a 4%, 5% fee or whatever, the developer still has to say, okay, let me spend this money to buy more coins. And a lot of, like I said, in a lot of other scam contracts, the developer just decided, I'm going to keep all of this and I'm not going to buy any coins. So that's the manual burn. That is there. You do still have to have a little bit of trust. But on top of that, they also have an automatic burn, which is a little bit higher. So you guys can see the brick stats right here. So this is the thing that I'm excited about. I'm excited that they can actually code and put something in the contract to do an automatic burn. So I think the way that this works is every single transaction is like a 1% fee. I think it's for sells. I'm not sure if it's for buys. So it's a 1% fee, and that's just going to be burned up, reducing the supply even more. So I like the fact that that's added onto here. And again, it gives me a little bit of faith that these developers can put out a little bit more than just copying and pasting a code, copying and pasting HTML, and putting it on to the internet. So that is Brickchain Finance. Keep an eye on this one. Only a $1.5 million TVL. Now again, a lot of people still are dumb enough to make the mistake to think that, if I talk about something, it's going to moon and they're going to put their life savings in it, and if it goes down, they get mad at me. That's not what I'm saying here. I'm saying that this one is different, and it has the potential to do well. It also has the potential to not do well. It has the same potential to scam out as everything else. So always do your own vetting and your research. But, this is just me doing my research. However you guys find what you think is good, you do that. But for me, it's looking for these contracts that can do innovation, that can do development, that have competent developers. And Brickchain.finance seems to have that. So we'll see what this TVL does tomorrow. Maybe it'll go up. Maybe it'll go down. Who knows? But just to make some comparisons, I've been looking at a ton of other farms. This isn't just a random farm that I picked. You have something like Goblin Finance, and this is just me again doing my own research. This is one that I think is not worth buying at all, because this one, essentially, you can read it in the Telegram. It says right here, the announcement. Look at this new type of Binance Smart Chain, a farming token that can only be farmed for 3 days. that's their hook. And I mean, everything else is Control C, Control V. I mean, we've seen this user interface hundreds of times already. We've seen this whole setup for their back office hundreds of times already for their farms. We've seen the 4% fees hundreds of times already. Now, what's 3 days of farming gonna do? I mean, after the 3 days, the coin is going to be 100% useless. I mean, what's Goblin Finance gonna? Why are you gonna hold Goblin Finance after that? So it's really just, in my opinion, this seems like it's just a race to dump, unless they have something else going on, which it looks like they don't. So again, they did add a feature, but that feature doesn't really seem to be that useful. And then you have your other things, like I've talked about this already. You do have some of these developers being sophisticated enough to change up the HTML, but you can't really be fooled by this. If the HTML looks different, if the picture looks different, I mean, they've had a couple days to really change it up a little bit as of right now. If the contract's the same, which in this case, it kind of is. I mean, they're using Egg and putting the 5% fee on Egg. Egg's the hot contract of the week. But beyond that, they're not offering anything new. It's going to suffer the same fate as the hundreds and hundreds of other clones that have been put out there. You got to search for competent developers. This one, again, one of the things that you guys can do is when you read about these contracts and they become really, really confident, and they say, oh, well, our contract has a burning mechanism in it. It's like, well, all of them do. So what? Who cares? What else can you do? So that's one of the things that I can do is I really gauge their confidence in their new feature. And if their new feature sucks, then that tells me that they're not really good developers. They really can't do anything different than Control C, Control V, and that's going to be the fate of their contract, is probably dying like the rest of them. And even still, I've been looking at other stuff on the Binance Smart Chain that's a little bit different. Now, I know there's also been a ton of just coins that are they claim to be, you can stake without having to do anything. You just buy the coin and it automatically stakes. But there's been tons of those already where, the every transaction has a 5% burn and it's distributed to all the holders. I mean, there's hundreds of those. So like, who cares? Like, the next one that comes out, I'm going to completely ignore unless they have some new feature. And then you have things like Octree, which are a little bit different. You can look into Octree on your own. You can look into some of these other smart contracts that are coming out. And again, I think the main thing is timing. So these things, like, you had your craze of Goose DeFi, of Viking Swap, of Salt Swap, and Pancake Swap, and all that stuff, and that's kind of been cloned to death now. So if you find any of these new contracts that actually do new stuff, different stuff that seems interesting, that's where you want to like really concentrate on and see if it's worth holding on to. So I haven't really had a chance to look into Octree yet, so but I did notice that it's a little bit different than the rest of the things that we've taken a look at. So that is an upgrade compared to the scammer honeypot that we've been having for the past 2 weeks, of people just giving money to people who press Control C and Control V. And then going back to the previous successors of the farms, we have, rest in peace, Viking Swap. This is a contract that gave up. They essentially said, we're done. Sell your tokens, and that is that. This is your. I mean, when we had our farming wars in the beginning, you had Viking Swap actually beat Goose DeFi for a little bit of time, and Goose DeFi was at the top, Viking Swap is at the top, and Viking Swap didn't really offer, like, it's suffering the fate because it's not doing anything different. And they said this in their message. They said Goose DeFi released layered farming. We are not good enough to develop anything like that. Goodbye. So that's essentially what happened. And that's what happened to all of these other farms. And I think that Viking Swap is really just the staple that really lets you know that, hey, whatever farm you're into, if they're doing the same thing as Viking Swap or the same thing as all the other farms, it's probably destined to die. And then you have Goose DeFi, which has survived real good over the past couple of days, especially if you've been looking at their layered farming. There's your competent developers. There's your people that are putting out stuff. And they actually coded layered farming as to where it cannot be cloned easily. So that's a good thing too. It sets them apart from everything else, and it's the reason why they have $332 million in their contract total value lock altogether. Goose DeFi might have a long way to go. Their layer 2 is going to be launching in a few days. So if you're staking here, it could be a good place to hold on to. And then your third place, like, this is the only other token, the only other farm that I've seen put out something new since the farms have started, and it's Slime Finance. Slime Finance introduced referrals, and they've been working really, really hard to differentiate themselves from the other farms. However, it really hasn't been quite enough to really put them on the top spot. It's one of the reasons why they're not at zero right now. They still have $5 million total value locked. If you've been farming with them, depending on when you got in, it's been pretty profitable for the past like week or so. So that's a positive. They've taken out all the copyright infringement logos and stuff like that. So you can see that they're making an effort, and their developers seem to be a little bit competent. They can put more than just Control-C, Control-V out. So that's a positive. Now I can't tell you that Slime Finance is going to be on the top spot. I mean, I don't know if it offers anything that different or that interesting to really keep it up there. But they're doing stuff. They just put a Doge pool out. So those are the kind of things I'm looking for. If you don't have a contract like Slime Finance, if your contract is like Foodie, where they just don't do anything different but change the UI, or Goblin Finance, where the thing that they're doing that's different is kind of dumb, then I'm not really going to take a look at it. But Brickchain, again, we'll see where this goes. Again, this could dump. Like I said, if people don't like it, just because the change is there doesn't mean it's a change that everyone's gonna love and fall in love and just like buy up. If people don't like it, it won't do well. But if people do like it, if they like the burn feature, and if it is successful, then hey, Brickchain could be, I'm thinking is like the next level of the farming clones. And like I said, when I say clones, they have to be different. You have to have different stuff on the Binance Smart Chain. If you were smart and you were standing on the sidelines like myself over the past week and just watching scam after scam after scam, people losing their money over and over and over again, then hopefully you're being smart right now and looking for something that's a little bit different, and just waiting for that moment. I mean, there's nothing wrong with waiting. You don't have to rush into a new contract every day. It's better to wait for a 10x rather than to jump into something once a day and get a total loss every day that you're doing that. Anyway, that's everything for today, guys. Check out Brickchain on your own. Let me know if you have any other contracts in your back pocket that are interesting. Again, a lot of the new stuff that's out, I'm still not gonna be that jazzed or super into, even if they do have new features. They have to be good new features. So if you guys think that they're good new features, feel free to share them in my Telegram chat for other people to take a look at and for myself to take a look at. And good luck and Godspeed to everyone who is trying out these new contracts over here in the Binance Smart Chain. Catch you guys in the next video. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace out.